And welcome to Tilson Live, everyone. So grateful that you're here with us. I'm Eric Allard, Senior Vice President of Business Development for Tilson Homes, part of the fourth generation of the Tilson family. And I am joined by our co-host, Director of Marketing for Tilson. This is Dawn Dantzler. Hello, Dawn.
Hi, everybody. How's it going today, Eric?
It is going well. The sun is shining. It's beautiful. Been making rounds around the fourth largest city in America today. So getting to see some of our offices. It's been a beautiful thing to see some sunshine and some pretty weather. We're hoping that this will, in time, produce some more malleable job sites in the not too distant future.
Dry everything out a little bit. Oh.
It's very, very wet, but that's okay. It's part of what we live for here in the great state of Texas. So folks, y'all come on in, hop in, post your questions to the chat. Dawn and her team will be monitoring the chat. I know Nick and Kelsey are both checking that out. Also, tell us where you're hailing from. Tell us where you're coming in from. We'd love to know. We'd love to see where all of you folks are watching from, streaming from, maybe where you're building. You can let us know that as well. And we are here to answer all of your questions about building on your land. Again, whether you're going to build with Tilson Homes or not, whether you're building in Texas or not, these are things that you just need to know. So we hope to just equip you with good information because in our experience, again, an educated buyer is the best and happiest kind of customer that there possibly is. So, Dawn, what do you add to that? Who's coming in here? What have we got folks coming in from?
We've got Houston, we've got Pearland, Lockhart.
Lockhart. I want some barbecue, Mr. Cepeda. Please make that happen.
Absolutely.
We were just talking about that yesterday, were we not?
We were going out to Blacks. Yeah.
Something special. The original Blacks. Not that there's wrong with the additional Blacks barbecue joints that have popped up. I'm just saying. There's Richard said, come on down. All right.
Coming over.
It's happening. Yes. Luling. Oh, the barbecue competition going on here.
Uh-oh.
Luling not to be outdone by the good folks of Lockhart. Brian bringing the heat from Luling with their barbecue. So, folks, if you're not in Texas, it's probably very hard to understand the whole Luling Lockhart barbecue thing. Welcome, Rustin from New Braunfels, Texas. Brian saying he just did
his soil samples. Awesome.
Rock on. So yeah, geotechnical investigation, part of it. Again, folks, come in, bring in your questions, put them in the chat. What are we talking about today, though? We're talking about a beautiful home that we built.
We're talking about the Driftwood, which is one of our most popular homes. We've got the model out there in Georgetown, but it's got some great features. So we're going to talk about one that we recently completed.
Beautiful, 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 beautiful. All right. Well, folks, y'all come on in. Magnolia, Texas. Converse, all right, just outside of San Antonio, building the Abilene in Seguin, not to confuse anyone. We're not building we're building the Abilene floor plan in Seguin, Texas.
In Seguin. We've got Goliad.
And today, Sarah, we remember Goliad. By the way, Dawn, today is Texas Independence Day.
I saw that.
Yep. It's a big deal. Big deal. Goliad was one of the battles. Didn't go well for us, but we fought it out, and we got on a different elevation. So we got questions already with Mr. Will.
We are. So Will's asking which of the different elevations tends to be the least expensive and the most expensive, and honestly, it's going to vary a little bit from plan to plan. In the majority of them, it's either going to be the A, if that's like the traditional hip roof version. If you don't see a traditional hip roof, probably the farmhouse elevation is going to be the least expensive. Most expensive, the one with the most stone.
Most stone or most porch in some cases. So if you have a lot of covered porch, typically that elevation is going to, because you're getting more slab, more roof, more everything. So, folks, again, continue to come on in here. We got somebody from
Kansas City's bringing their own barbecue.
Dawn, I'm not sure I can do the different state barbecue thing today. I'm not sure I can do that.
All right, we won't do that.
It is its own deal. Ribs. Hey, I'm going to give it to the folks in Kansas City. Their ribs are something to behold. No doubt about it. Del Rio, Texas. All right.
All right.
Just outside of Houston. Beautiful. Guys, we're so grateful to have each and every one of you. Ask your questions. We're here to just impart whatever little bit of wisdom we've got about this whole custom home building thing on your own land. It is all we do. It's all we've done for the last nearly 90 years. So anyway, so we got folks in
Memphis.
Georgia, Memphis. We're taking on a whole different, building in Fisher, Texas, out in the Hill Country. Thank you, Charlotte, for not mentioning anything about Georgia barbecue. Do they have barbecue in Georgia? Is that a thing?
I'm sure they do. Yeah.
Okay. We Texans are very isolated by choice, but we are isolated. Because of
they do, but they tend to not have a lot of beef barbecue, East Coast people.
Yeah. So yeah, brisket's definitely a big deal here in the great state of Texas. You take the absolute worst cut of meat on the cow whatsoever, and how
Low
edible
and slow.
Can you make it edible? So anyway, all right, here we go. We want to talk about the Driftwood. And we've talked about Driftwood before, obviously.
We have, but it's very popular, so we like to talk about it and show off new ones.
So what is it that people like just starting out about the Driftwood?
I know a lot of people really like that back porch. It's very popular. It's got the cedar truss and the raised ceiling. So that's just beautiful. And that of course is continued inside the plan. You've got those raised ceilings. It also has a 2.5 car garage already incorporated into the plan. So lots of room for your toys. So I know that makes it super popular.
Yeah, it's a, it went through several evolutions. It was actually long ago a model in a place in New Ulm called the Falls. It was not called the Driftwood at the time, and it went through some evolutions. But suffice it to say, we've been building this home in one way, shape, or form for a long time, and have just really been able to polish it design-wise over the years to the model that it became when we built it out there in Georgetown. It's a slam dunk. So, of course, split floor plan. People love that about it. You've got the master suite on one side and everybody else on the other, which is nice. Easily could make it a 4-bedroom if you wanted to convert the study, or leave it like it is, and it's your work from home, or it's your remote learning, whatever kind of environment you're after. But and it'll actually, as far as our plans go, it's one of the few from a right out of the box will fit on a narrower, by Tilson, Texas definition, narrower lot. And that the garage doesn't kind of go out to the side. It can fit on what's known as a J swing, so where you drive in and then turn in like the shape of a J. So kind of handy that that's not the case on a lot of floor plans. Again, 91% of what we build is rural. It's out in the county, out in the country, and so most of our customers have the space to go wider, which actually typically tends to scale better on a large piece of property. It's why a lot of people ask why we don't have just pure straight up and down 2-story homes. And for the most part, that is a great look on a 60, 70, even 80-foot wide lot. When you start to put that on 2 acres that might be 200 feet wide, it's doesn't scale.
Looks out of scale. Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit. So you can still get 3,000 or 4,000 square feet, but it's stacked on top of each other and just it doesn't look the same. So now these good folks, where did we build this home? Out in the Temple Belton area, if I recall.
Yes, out in Bell County.
Yeah. Beautiful. So just north of our Georgetown office, kind of between Georgetown and Waco, is where the Temple Waco Belton is. That kind of heart of Texas, as they call it, the high hill country. Some call it just Central Texas. But what did these good folks do, Don? Take us through what they did and the changes that they made.
So relatively by Tilson standards, they didn't make a lot of changes, but they did do some things that we thought were kind of smart. So we wanted to share them with everybody. The first thing they did is in the kitchen area, usually in that space behind the pantry in the hallway, you have a separate hall closet. These folks actually combined that and absorbed that space into the pantry to get some extra shelving and just some extra storage room in there. And then they also added the wood burning fireplace with the full cedar mantle. So very much like what we have in the model, only with the actual Constitution fireplace to make it wood burning, because this was a spray foam home. So to do that, they had to have the Mac Daddy fireplace.
Yep. Big boy.
And then over in the master bath area, they actually wanted to make the tub longer in the master bath. And because of that, we made some adjustments along that whole wall. So the his closet, as we lovingly refer to it, the smaller master closet, got a little bit smaller. So the space for the extra length of the tub came out of that area, which also just moved the shower slightly. They also did add a grab bar in the shower. So good planning for aging in place. And so that's what happened there. And then this model also comes with, on the areas next to the 2 sinks, we typically have a hamper door. So you can just dump the dirty clothes in. They decided they didn't want that. So they just did pure linen shelves and removed the hamper space.
Nice.
There. And then over in that hallway that leads to the utility room and the garage, took out another closet. And instead of having kind of that hallway closet there, they created kind of a coffee wine bar area and put in cabinetry. So we'll show you that. It turned out really nicely. So they have a nice, I would almost call it a butler's pantry, but it's farther away from the kitchen, but it's a nice storage space for, they're putting in a wine fridge and
you know what it is? It's the work from home break room. That's what.
There you go. There you go. That's the coffee room. That's where they do the water cooler conversations with themselves. And then the last thing in the kitchen, they kind of copied the model and did the bump out for the cooktop, just to add a little bit more depth to that area.
Very nice touch. All right. Well, let's get a little bit closer look in on some of these changes then. Folks, again, keep putting your questions in there. We're going to pause here in just a second and we'll get to questions. So let's see what we're looking at here.
So this is the beautiful front elevation. It is a lot of stone happening on this. So just absolutely gorgeous. The 2.5 car garage that we spoke about before. Just beautiful.
Yeah. And a couple of things that are specific to this region I want to point out real quick. So you can, of course, see in the background, we've got some overhead power. So that's coming in there. You can see where we actually set up our temporary power on here. There's a meter there. Obviously, permanent power got run to the house eventually. So this is a pretty typical setup, what you'd see under construction. Also want to point out, like Don mentioned, it was built in climate zone 3, so a little bit further to the north. It's going to have spray foam, so you'll notice an absence, or you may not. There's an absence of ridge venting. So there's no ridge venting when you're doing a spray foam home because you're sealing that entire part of the attic up. So there's no passive airflow that the attic needs to escape. Same thing, your pre-drilled ventilated soffit goes away around the home because, again, you're sealing it up. And then also you're going to notice it may be hard to tell in the video, but there is kind of almost like a stucco finish to the side of the slab. That is specific to Central Texas, to the hill country. It's known as sand topping or sometimes underpinning. But what it is kind of like a little finish, so you don't see the boards that were used to do the forms. Okay. That's not the case in the Gulf Coast or in North Texas, but it's the case pretty well. And we're not the only builder that does that, by the way. This is kind of a win in Rome deal. So that's what you're seeing there. And then every builder does not do this, but we do. We try to bring the AC units up level with the finished floor of the home. So we've got this gigantic,
it's got its own pedestal,
chunk of concrete upon which the AC unit sits. So this AC unit is big, and its little podium is even bigger. So, but yeah, I mean, real cedar, real stone. These are real cedar brackets. We try to use as much of those natural components as possible to really bring that outdoorsy hill country look to this home. So and I think they nailed it with their colors. It's really pretty.
Yeah, really pretty. And this we just thought was cute. When we came to take the pictures, the neighbors had popped over and hung up a sign for them. So we just wanted to share that because it was a very sweet touch.
Very sweet touch. And
these pictures were taken the day they closed. Yes, we like the spelling too.
Yeah, like a horse neighing. Welcome, neighbor. Very cute.
Yeah.
Very cute. So, but wanted to point out a couple of things. These gigantic. I think these are either 10 by 10 or 12 by 12 wood columns. So they're real columns. And they have what's known as checking in them. I wanted to kind of point that out. You'll notice, because it's a natural material, that as it dries, as the wood dries out, it is going to tend to separate. That's known as checking. It is not structural. It's part of the natural appeal of the wood, and it does not affect the structure of it whatsoever. So something to be aware of when you're going with wood columns over like a composite or a fiberglass column. And our customers really like the natural look, but that is a perfectly normal occurrence.
Okay, great.
Are these snacks? I see snacks.
Yeah, I think they might be bird feeders. I'm not sure.
Oh, a bird feeder. Well, that's not going to fill me up.
I don't know. No,
All right,
not going to be great for you.
On the rear here.
So this is that beautiful back porch area that we were talking about earlier, where you've got the wonderful cedar truss and the raised ceilings. This one has a very large, Driftwood has a very large back porch on it. As Eric mentioned, this is kind of in the hill country, so the lot is a little bit out of level, so it's going to be higher there. So the same type of podium that you saw for the air conditioning unit, you've got that same amount of height on the back here.
Yeah, and so you'll notice also, of course, the railing because of that.
Mm-hmm.
So the code does require if you're a certain amount of feet above the ground, depending on the distance away from that ground, that you do have to have railing for protection. But so that's something you might hear about in a design center, or whenever your out of level comes back when you're doing a site evaluation. So we have the septic that's tied in over here. And again, yeah, so it was obviously this lot, of course, you start to you're still in Central Texas, in Temple, Waco, Killeen, Belton, that area. So out of levels are part of the deal. And so we had the high point in the front of the home. We can go back a couple and see that, so we're building, 11, 12 inches above natural ground over in here. And it probably dropped, 40 inches or so to the back of the home. So very normal. You actually even will see this sometimes in subdivisions. So
well, and you can also see that we caught them in the middle of pressure washing. They stopped for us to take the pictures, but they are in the process of getting all that red mud that you see off of the house.
Making it all pretty.
Yeah.
Well, very cool. Well, should we pause here for a couple of? We have questions.
Sure. Yeah, we've got some questions.
Okay. Well, let's tackle.
So let's get to them. So Cynthia is asking if we can include electrical and water installation and extension to the overall price.
Yes, you absolutely can. So a certain footage of water and electrical is already included in the base price of every home that we do. I think it's about 50 feet. And then, what we do is when we come into your site evaluation, these used to, you had to drag a tape. Now they have these cool little laser and shoot how far it is away. And we can know right then and there and add in the whatever it is over 50 feet to your electrical or your water. And that's only going to be the case if you're doing the electrical underground. If it's overhead electrical you're running to the house, your provider has to run that. So that's
okay.
So sometimes they'll run overhead power to a certain pole, and then a customer will go down from that pole over to the house underground. That we can do. But if you're doing actual overhead power to what's known as a weatherhead that kind of sticks up above the roof, if you're connecting to that, that's the provider does that. So
okay, that makes sense.
Question.
All right. Joss is asking if she's already under construction. Am I able to customize the shelves in the master closet, or would it be too late?
Well, Joss, definitely changing anything once you've done a construction is typically a no-no. The best person to ask, however, about that specifically would be your building superintendent, your builder. Contact them directly and ask them, not the sales center. And the reason I say that is because kind of once you've gone into construction, your point person at the point of your pre-construction meeting, that point person changes from your sales consultant to your builder. The reason is that builder is the shot caller through that rest of the day. So they are scheduling everything. They know what's been ordered, what hasn't been ordered, what POs or purchase orders or work orders have been released, which ones haven't. The salesperson does not know those things. They're running and gunning, trying to get other people's color selections done and designs done and changes done. And then the building superintendent's in charge of making sure that home that you guys have selected everything for actually gets executed. So definitely talk to your building superintendent, but as a general standing rule, and Don knows I don't like rules, but as a general rule, changing anything in construction is typically a no-no.
Right. Okay. And Jackie's saying she loves the driftwood, but her lot is very narrow. She's worried a single story won't fit. Where can she find slab dimensions? Jackie, that's something that any design center can give you, or if you want to send us a private message, or if Kelsey is able to look that up for you and kind of send you those dimensions, we can get
I think she did. I think someone answered at 68 feet, I think.
Perfect. All righty. Let's see. Richard wants one of my cups. Sorry, these are a Tilson employee perk. So if you want one, you have to come work for us.
That's right. You got to join the grind.
Yes.
But we can get you all the bottled water you like.
Yes, you can have all the bottled water you like. Elena is saying she's thinking about building the Cypress floor plan in Montgomery. How much would it cost to add a 2.5 car garage like the Driftwood, like in the Driftwood to the Cypress? So we can do that. If you're looking to put it in the same spot as it's on the Driftwood, I would suggest just building the Driftwood. They are basically the same plan. If you're looking to do it on the side, we do have some pre-priced custom options for that.
Yeah. It's about, so to do one about the size of the Driftwood, which I just put at about 600 square feet, you're looking about probably close to 345,000, somewhere around there. We get you real close, but like Don said, you're really kind of better off doing the Driftwood, but I mean, we can do it. We can do it on the side. We can do it on the front. We can do whatever we want. We can do it detached, whatever works best for you. So
awesome. Jabo is curious about the status of the Canyon model in Bryan. We are very close. The storm set us back a little bit, not because of any damage to the model, but because we were in the middle of redoing the sprinkler system at the design center when that came through. So we are trying to get all of our landscaping situated and buttoned up so that it's safe for people to come in. And last I heard, they were doing lighting and a couple of other minor tweaks.
Yeah, we're trying to
soon.
Yeah, re-kick the landscaping off. I think the week of the 15th is what we're shooting for. But it is wet right now, guys. It's wet everywhere. So bear with us. Bear with anybody who's putting in your counties that are putting in culverts, or you're trying to get permits for putting in culverts or construction drives. All of that stuff came to a screeching halt the week of the freeze, and I think it rained another inch last night. Where I live, which their water has nowhere to go. So it's wet. It's going to just take a little bit. Now you got to be patient, let it dry out. That's just the deal.
Can't get the heavy equipment on the land.
You can get it on.
Okay, you can't get it on and off. You're just not getting it anywhere else.
You can deliver heavy equipment. No factor.
You just keep it.
Yep.
Rustin is asking if customers can opt for higher efficiency options that exceed our normal standards. He's interested in things like advanced framing, very low air changes per hour, eliminating thermal bridges, and external foam wraps.
Well, we do like all of those things, but yes, the answer to your question is you can do more things than our normal standards. We shoot for a very low ACH. In climate zone 2, we have to get less than 5. We're achieving that all day. In a lot of cases, less than 4 actually. And then in climate zone 3, like where this home was built, it has to be less than 3 air changes per hour, and we're hitting in the ones. So 1.2, 1.8 air changes per hour using spray foam insulation. So eliminating thermal bridges is actually part of the energy code that we follow. So that has to be done. And then external foam wraps. That's probably the only thing we haven't done in a number of years. We used to do that. In fact, when we built my house 16 years ago, we used a 1-inch radiant foil backed foam. The technology hasn't come a long way on external foam wraps for what you get. Now, if you were living in a more northern climate, Wyoming, something like that, where they actually they don't insulate just the wall, they insulate the slab, basement, all of it with a 1, 2, 3-inch thick foam board. But they're combating a totally different type of weather we are, apart from the week of Valentine's Day for us.
Okay. Doug is asking if there are any pictures we can share of the attic in a spray foam build. Doug, I can actually do you better. We have some video. If I notice that you're on our YouTube channel, I will add a link into the comments after this video, sending you to the model tour of the Fayetteville. And that one, we actually go in the attic, and that's a spray foam home. Martina is asking if the front and back were switched, would there be stairs added, and were stairs an option for the back foundation? So asking
the answer is stairs are an option. Stairs are always an option. In some cases, they're actually even required. but not always. Sometimes you have to have steps and railing. Sometimes you can have just railing if you're saying, hey, no, we're not going to get off the back porch. It's just kind of whatever the customer wants to be able to pass the code. In this case, they didn't, evidently, at least at this time, didn't have any reason to need to go off the back porch. But yeah, we could do steps. They could be wood, they could be concrete. The railing can be wood like this. It can be metal. I mean, there's some different options out there for how we tackle the steps and the railing and all that kind of good stuff. One of Justin Ordno's favorite subjects. He loves talking about it.
Yes, absolutely. Javo is asking if there's a recommended material we should use for the all-weather drive that our crews will need.
Yep. Crushed rock or crushed concrete, crushed limestone or crushed concrete. Those are the best. It's not the only thing you need, though. I would highly recommend having some type of a clay base put down first, if possible. Right now, that's going to be very challenging. It's hard to do when it's wet. I know we're trying to make these videos evergreen, Todd. I'm sorry.
It's all right. We put a date on them.
When it's wet, it's hard to do that. And even when you put rock down, sometimes if it's wet, particularly as wet as it is now, you just keep pushing the rock down and down. So in other words, what would ordinarily be maybe 5 or 6 loads of rock in normal soil conditions, when it's wet like this, it can turn into 8 to 12 to 15 loads of rock real quick. So it starts to become cost prohibitive. But you do it with just a decent clay base, select fill or even more clay base, and then a layer of rock on top of that, crushed rock or crushed concrete or crushed limestone. And the crushed concrete is literally just recycled concrete that's busted up into pebbles, probably 1.5 inches, 2 inches.
Okay.
That's the base. Great question,
Right.
Jabo. Thanks.
Great. Elena is asking if the cedar beam is included in the plan or is it extra? The cedar beams are an optional upgrade that you can add into the plan if you're talking about the wrapped beams inside the home. And
the wrapped beams inside the home are additional. The cedar beam on the back porch is included in that custom option. And I think we have someone to answer her that was included. It's included in the custom option when you do the custom option for the cathedral ceiling that goes through the family room onto the back porch. The cedar beam is in fact included, but it's not included in the cedar wrap inside. It's not.
Okay.
So make sure we answered both.
Perfect. Cintron is asking, would it be possible to make the front porch bigger or to add a front porch sitting area to this model?
So you can, but it is going to change the look of the home fairly significantly. So when you're looking at the front here, if you start to go too much this way to the right, you're going to start to encroach, even with depth-wise. And I'll flip to that's a good one there. You can't go too far before you start getting in the way of this garage when you're trying to come in and turn. So
so you'd almost want to flip the garage doors if you.
Yeah, you picture you're driving in like this. If you start to come out more than that, and maybe not so much when you drive in, but when you go to back out, you want to leave yourself enough space to be able to operate a vehicle safely without damaging the vehicle or the home. So we typically see most people add the space, take the money, and add it to the back of this home. Like Don said, flip the doors on the other side of the garage, and then it's less of an issue, but it can create a bit of a muddy hole here if we come out real far with that. So something to consider. Great question, though.
Okay, great.
You want to cruise on while we're here? Oh no, we do not want to cruise on yet. Oh, we
do. Let's get this one, and then we'll
let's do it.
Cynthia is asking who we can reach out to in order to figure out the process to resurvey. There's a home on our lot already, and we plan to build another home on the same lot.
Okay, Cynthia, that's a great question. A lot of our customers run into that. So I don't know which one we're talking about as far as surveying, or sounds like maybe replatting. And that's typically something that's required by your county or your municipality. So I don't know if you're building inside of a city or if you're just in the county, but either way, they can very well require a replat if you're trying to build 2 homes on what was platted originally as one residential lot, or like even if that lot is 1 or 2 or 12 acres. Sometimes if you want to put 2 on that one, they're going to make you draw an imaginary line, only they want that recorded with the county. And that is a replat. There's a plat or a replat, one of the two. And so a registered professional land surveyor has to do that, a surveyor. What I would recommend is reach out to whatever agency is requiring the replat or the plat. ask them if they have a list of approved surveyors. And if they say it's not, you can use whoever, then reach out to your local Tilson office and we can give you some names of surveyors that we and our customers have used in the past and had great experiences with. I'm going to spare you the suspense. They're all backed up right now. And the reason for that is not just all the new home sales that have happened. Okay. It's not a Tilson thing. This is and we've talked about this before recently, Dawn, is refis. Every single refinance has to have an updated survey. They want a fresh survey. Same surveyors that are doing the new homes that are done out there. And by the way, also new subdivisions. If a developer wants to go put a new subdivision in and wants to go carve out lots on a drawing and submit that to the county for approval as a platted subdivision, guess who does that plat too?
The same surveyor.
So they got all the business that they want right now, and probably then some. So just be prepared for it to take a little bit longer than it might ordinarily. But a registered professional land surveyor, RPLS, they're licensed by the state of Texas. They're going to be the ones to do that plat or replat, whichever one that your agency is requiring.
Okay, great.
What's happening?
Got it.
What did we do what are we looking at now, Miss Dawn?
This is the family room with that beautiful fireplace that we were talking about before. So they've got the full stone all the way to the ceiling on the chimney. Just absolutely beautiful. Big cedar beam as the mantle. They raised up the hearth. So you've got the nice seat going there. And then, like I said, that is the bad daddy of the wood burning fireplace that actually you can burn it with those doors closed because it's got its own oxygen source happening. It's got its own, it's pulling in its own air.
And this is, guys, if you're building in that climate zone 3 and are asking about a wood burning fireplace, this is pretty well your only option. Now, that's not to say that a builder wouldn't put a different one in. We try very hard to put things in that are actually going to function.
Yeah, we talked about that. There are a lot of builders that will put in not this one and then tell you things like, well, you need to open your window to burn your fire.
Well, in this case, a door.
Or a door. But if you're burning a fire, it's probably cold. So opening a window is not ideal. So this is why we only do this for our customers, because we want things to work.
Yeah. So, but it is a great fireplace that functions real well. Part of the other issues, it has to meet climate zone 3's rigorous specs. You do have to have that less than 3 air changes per hour. Well, when they do that blower door test that I know Dawn is working diligently on a video, and they start sucking the air out of the house, this is a gigantic hole.
You cut a hole in the middle of your roof and opened it up to your house.
Yeah, we do this amazing spray foam tight home, tight corners, seal, polycell exterior corners, and then we punch a hole in it. So anyway, that's why this fireplace actually has gasketed sealed doors. Is how it can, so we can push those, close them, and it's tight like a weather stripped door. So
nice.
It's hard to see that here, but all right.
And this is that place we were talking about earlier. This is the hallway that actually leads to the utility room, and then the garage, and there's a half bath on the other side of this picture. And usually this in the Driftwood is a like hallway closet where you can stick your coats and all that jazz. These customers actually opted to go ahead and create kind of a wine coffee bar. The space that you see is for their wine fridge down there at the bottom, but they added in the cabinetry below and up top and the nice granite countertops to create this beautiful space.
Yeah, and something to consider. You when you go to buy a fridge like that, do look at how it's designed to run. There's a vast difference in price of wine fridges. The biggest difference is the inexpensive ones are typically designed for like an out exposed area where air can get around them to cool off the compressor. When you go from like $600 wine fridge and it jumps to like $1,800 wine fridge, those are the ones that are designed to go in a hole like this that doesn't have passive airflow.
Yep. Yeah, and that's true of any type of small refrigerator. The mini fridges that are meant for the dorm room that just sit out are going to be a lot cheaper than the ones that you can actually enclose in cabinetry. So
that's right.
Make sure you're getting the right ones.
For sure. But what a cool break room for work from home.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Or I guess a happy hour after work from home.
Work from home, that starts at 2, right?
That's right. Yeah.
And this is just your guest bath that's on the other side of that hallway from the coffee bar, wine bar area that they created. And then here's your ginormous utility room that gives you lots of space. Got space for an upright freezer in here, as well as your washer dryer, and nice space to do all the folding of clothes, and lots of storage built in. Very well designed.
Yeah, and actually they didn't make any changes to the utility room at all. It's like, this is how big it is in the stock plan. So you do have room for, your freezer over here on the left, which is nice, again, for our customers out there living in the woods. Or
I always like to take time to appreciate how nicely we frame out your dryer hookup.
That you'll see one time.
Very pretty.
Yep. And then you're going to shove a dryer against it and get dryer lint all around it and never see it again.
But you'll know it's pretty and it's back there.
You know it's gorgeous.
And this is that study area, your good work from home space. And it's got its own closet in there. So if you wanted to turn it into a 4th bedroom, very easy to do. Already included in there.
Very nice. Oh, wow.
And the beautiful kitchen. The Driftwood's very, very popular kitchen, just because look how pretty it is. You get the big island with the sink in there. Lots of counter space, lots of cabinet space. Just a great area. And like you said, they extended that cooktop a little bit to give that wall a little bit of dimension.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really, and of course you got the walk-in pantry here that they made even bigger. I guess their pantry kind of goes all the way to here now.
Yes.
Closet went. They did opt for pendant light over the island as well, which is really, really nice. But and again, you've got some of the outlets down low, so you're not trashing up your decorative. This guy, I think it might be that's a natural stone.
That's a stone.
Yeah. Under cabinet lighting, which is very nice touch, and lots of drawers. So yeah, so this is a very versatile kitchen. Of course, you can do this in a lot of our plans. Just have one level of island, not a pop-up raised bar top. Super easy to do. Just know that if your dishes aren't clean, everybody
knows. Yeah.
Everybody knows. But they should be your friends and family anyway if they're over there. So who cares?
Exactly.
If after a year of everyone living at home, they're not used to that, then maybe this is not for you.
And this is the pantry.
Closet space.
Huge. Yes. So as you mentioned, they did, extend the pantry, went all the way over to the cabinet since they took out the hallway closet. So they just have lots and lots of storage space in their pantry.
Yeah. And what's obviously not pictured here is, from the floor up is probably another 2 feet space. Your trash cans or dog food or whatever else goes in your pantry. I don't know. Where do you keep your dog food, Don? Where's dog food stay at the Dancer house?
It's in the pantry.
It's in the pantry. Okay.
It's okay. So we have 2 pantries. So it's in the pantry out of the kitchen.
Ladies and gentlemen, you cannot hide prosperity. The Dancers have 2. My goodness.
Well, we had in our house, it was originally designed to be like the silliest hallway closet. It was the whole space under the stairs. So we converted it to a pantry and said, because the pantry that's actually in my kitchen was just too small for me. So
gotcha. Yeah. Before we started, Don was talking about all the changes this particular customer made to the closet space and how she had a great appreciation for the redistribution of closet wealth, if you will.
Yes. Yes. When you have a 3-car garage, like everything that you would usually be stuffing in all those hallway closets, just stuff out there and make the rest of the space work for you.
Stays in the utility room. Actually, these days our dog food stays on the front porch because that's where Chewy delivers it, and we wait for one of the kids to do their job, which is bring it inside. So in many cases, our dog food lives on the front porch. Thankfully, it's in a weatherproof sack.
I was going to say, you must not have raccoons.
No, we do, but even they are too lazy to bring it. Even they're too lazy to bring it in. Yeah, they. I don't know.
See, my in-laws tried to store their dog food and cat food outside, and the raccoons
found it. What? Storing it. It's in the Chewy box from the delivery truck.
Oh yeah, they learned what the delivery box looked like, and took it.
Brilliant. All right. All right, folks, keep putting your questions in the chat. We're going to finish up here in just a little bit on the tour and then answer more of your questions. So, Dawn, finish us out here. What a view.
Yeah, look at this. I just love the view. I wanted to show this picture off. So this is the dining area that's attached to the kitchen, and just nice space to gather. It's very large. You can fit a full 6-8 person table in the space. So just a nice space to have, and all those windows bringing in all the beautiful natural light.
Yeah, that's pretty.
It's great space. So this is your master bedroom. Again, big windows for natural light, and then over where the bed would normally sit, we have that top transom light. So you still have the light coming in, but you also have privacy and the ability to use the wall. So the windows aren't taking up all of your wall space.
Very pretty.
And here's that master bath that we were talking about. They actually went with the longer tub. The tub that comes in the model is actually already pretty big, but they just wanted it a little bit longer. So that adjusted a few things. So the shower just kind of slid over and made the secondary closet a little bit smaller. And you can see they put in the grab bar in the shower. Yeah,
and then they, like you said, they just did tall cabinets. So this cabinet's just all shelves in it. And actually, I think that one's I think it's the same price as the one that's got the hamper on the front. So you kind of have an option of either doing the laundry hamper or tons of storage like this. Maybe that's where all his clothes are now since they stole.
Well, yeah, since they took the space. Yeah, that might be what happened.
Yeah. Always the whipping post. Poor guys.
And then these are the two secondary bedrooms that are on the opposite side of the house from the master, because this is a split bedroom design. And these are both, very nice sized bedrooms.
Yeah, big bedrooms, big closets, a lot of natural light. Of course, ceiling fans in every single bedroom. Yeah. That's going to be included
in all our homes.
Yep.
And your secondary bathroom. So you've got a nice big long counter space. So hopefully there's not too much fighting over whose stuff goes where.
They fight in my house to get to shower outside. That's the rule.
Your house is just wild west.
We can fix this. If y'all aren't comfortable with it, no factor. There's 3 water hoses on the outside of the house. Help yourself. All right. Now we have questions. I know we've got questions. So
we do have questions. So let's get
your questions in the chat, folks. We'll be glad to answer them.
Absolutely. Kazim is asking, will you be able to provide a quote if we present you with the prints? We would need to make way too many changes to the 2-story floor plans that Tilson has. Yeah, we absolutely can. Look at, we'll build from other plans. What will probably happen when you go in the design center, just so you're not surprised, is we will grab one of our existing plans and start kind of making changes to it. And that's just so that we can kind of agree on the ballpark price. So we'll pick the house that's the most similar and give you kind of the range of price of what it would cost to make it like the one that you brought in. If you're in agreement that you're comfortable with that price range, then we would send it off to send your plans off to the drafting team to get an actual quote for that.
Well said.
All right. Jabo has a follow-up on his driveway question. What typically becomes of this material if we are installing an asphalt driveway once construction is complete?
Oh, Jay, that's a great question. It makes fantastic road base. So you leave it there just like it is. Typically the asphalt company will come in and probably maybe with either a box blade or a skid steer of some sort, clean it up, level it out after construction. But I mean, if you have a nice clay base and then rock beneath that, and you've been driving on that with heavy trucks for 6-8 months during construction, that's a nice solid base for the asphalt. I mean, or concrete, either one. So yeah, you would leave it just like that, just like it is, and it becomes a great base for your permanent drive.
Perfect. Clyde is asking if we have any update on windows being available.
Well, I think he had asked a question before on a previous live. And so, yeah, windows are coming in available slowly. I know we've been waiting because we're redoing some of the windows on the Canyon model in Bryan, and we've been waiting about 3 months on those. So it's a real struggle. I know that it's a great big company, Crestmark, which is headquartered in Dallas. They're owned by Boral, which is a multinational company. So I mean, they're doing everything that they can to keep up with demand and still comply with the regulations of workspaces they're trying to do, particularly factories. But yeah, it's slow going, Clyde. Slow going. That's the update.
Okay. Jackie is asking which models are featured at the Spring Design Center. What say you, Eric?
I would say the Nueces and the San Jacinto. So they're open 7 days a week, ready for you to come view it.
Absolutely. Martina is asking, she's looking at building a Preston in Hamilton County. Is a wood burning fireplace an option? And if so, how much would that cost?
It is an option. You are going to have the Constitution because Hamilton County is a climate zone 3. So you'd probably looking somewhere between $11,000 and $14,000. Get you pretty close on but it'd be just like the one you saw in this picture, as far as the sealed gasketed doors and that's what it would be.
Okay. Keaton is asking, how much do we need to budget for the construction driveway?
Keaton, that depends on how long it's going to have to be. I would say you could budget somewhere close to, depending on, it would not include clearing necessarily, but somewhere between $30 and $35 a lineal foot for construction drive. So, if it's going to be 50 feet, about $1,500 or so. And again, that's just for the construction drive portion. That would not include if you needed a culvert as well, or sometimes the county provides those. So that would vary, but figure about $30, $35 a lineal foot for crushed concrete or crushed limestone construction drive.
Okay. Kazim is saying he's already purchased tiles for the kitchen backsplash and a standalone bathtub for the master bath. Can we use this if we build through Tilson?
Yeah, the bathtub, definitely not. I'm not going to be able to use that. We have had some customers where we stub for them and they add them later after closing. But for it to be in there before closing, it has to be something that our plumber installed. That's for our insurance, our warranty, their insurance, licensed by the state of Texas. That way they don't get into hair splitting about, was it the tub that failed? Was it the fixture that failed? You want us to be responsible for all of it. And a plumber is not going to accept responsibility for a tub that they did not provide or they didn't source. And then on the backsplash, we've had some customers that just left off the backsplash and put it in, but we don't install owner furnished tile. That's for sure. So we've had like my brother-in-law and sister-in-law built their house in Driftwood. We just didn't do backsplashes at all. We credited them that. And then after the fact, they did their own. They actually did their own, which I don't recommend doing, but he's super handy and didn't need my help. But you can still have it done after the fact. That's a great question, Kazim. Thank you for asking. Okay,
great. Don is saying that his culvert and drive is going to be installed Thursday. So he's getting to the bottom of his to-do list. Yes.
Nice.
So they're building in Nottingham and Maybank this spring, summer. Awesome.
Beautiful. Thanks for sharing.
Jackie is asking, how long are surveys good for?
Oh, great question, Jackie.
Great question.
A short answer is as long as nothing new is done to the land. That could be improvements, easements, fences, anything. But I have seen, that's theoretically how long they're good for. Nothing changed, right? So the land certainly didn't change. With the exception of sometimes creeks. If you have land on a creek or a river, obviously that can change. But basically, I would say they're good for as long as you can still find the corners. If you could bring in a survey, that still that's legible and is accurate, and the corners that are located on that drawn survey can still be found on the property, those corner pins, then the survey's probably still good. If we're unable to locate the corner pins or ascertain where the corner is supposed to be, you probably will need to have at least the corners flagged and sometimes even an updated survey. Sometimes the surveyor is going to want to do just a new fresh one. They're going to pull the new firm maps, pull any easements. They're going to want it done with in conjunction with the title commitment or with benefit of title. Sometimes with the phrase you'll hear them say. So they can show any kind of aerial easements, pipeline easements, utility easements. That kind of stuff needs to be on there as well. So could be a long time, or could just till something changed.
All right. Joss is saying we want to add a metal building to our land for additional storage. Since they already did the pre-appraisal, should we wait to have it installed after the house is done, or does it not make a difference?
I would probably wait to have it installed. it doesn't, if I'm assuming, Josh, in this instance, you're not borrowing the money to build that building. So obviously, if you want to borrow the money to build that building, then the appraisal would need to be redone so that money is included. But if we're not talking about doing that, if you're talking about you want to build a metal building later on, I would tell you to wait until after the house is completed and then build that metal building. Plus, also that way the power will be in place, the water lines will be in place, and you can just, if you want to have that hooked up to either or both of those things, that'd be a little bit easier to do after the house is done.
Okay. Rusty is asking, on our floor plans, the alternate kitchens or alternate master bedrooms, are the alternates extra cost? There is a cost difference. I think it's going to vary a little bit by plan, whether it's more or whether it's less. It just kind of depends upon what changes in the floor plan.
Yep.
Russman is asking, if I wanted a total solar roof, such as one provided by Tesla, could that be done during construction? If so, would I receive a credit for not installing the shingles?
So we've never done a solar roof, certainly not the Tesla one. I know that the roof is only part of the battle. The other part is where you're going to put the batteries and how you're going to keep them cooled. And that's part that's not, hey, look, I love Tesla. I don't have a car, but I love the ingenuity of the company. I love the entrepreneurial spirit of Elon Musk. Their website's not quite as clear on how it all actually works, how it ties into the rest of the home, and mostly battery storage and how it's cooled and how that affects all those different things. Also, what happens when it snows for a week and you don't have solar. But
yeah.
If you were to, we have had customers take a roofing contract per se. Typically, they're doing like a metal roof or something. So to that end, we would just pay you like the independent contractor. So we would be paying you the roofing contract, like $10.99 and all. Now, you're not going to make money doing it, so you don't have to really worry about that, although I'm not an accountant. But you would get paid whatever our base contract is for shingles, and then you could just apply that money towards your Tesla solar roof. Like I said, we haven't been involved in doing one of those yet, but there's a first time for everything.
Okay, great. Jackie was asking in the secondary bathroom if we can change it to double sinks. Absolutely. There's plenty of room in that bathroom to do that. Cynthia is asking, can we add cathedral ceilings and extend it to the back porch on the Laporte?
So it can be done, but on the Laporte, you have to extend that beyond the master bedroom. So you would need that, it's already listed as like 14'4" to the back of the master from the family room. You'd need to go about 16'4", 17 feet. And so it would need to be pretty substantial in size. So it was going to end up being bigger than the actual master bedroom itself. It's going to be about 17 feet by probably 16 or 17 feet, probably 17 by 17 is about what it's going to be.
Okay.
So, and I don't have I know her next question was, what's the price on that? I don't have the pricing on that. A local design center could get that priced out for you.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Shelly is asking, what is the minimum distance between a tankless water heater mounted on an outside wall and an operable window? Ooh, this one's very specific.
I'm going to pass. I'm going to pass to
I
Dawn.
know. We're gonna have to look that one up. Shelly, if you can send this question to us as a private message, I'm gonna need to get Dave on that one, I think. So we will get you the answer, but that is not one that we know offhand.
Yeah, I would say I would do it further than maybe whatever the minimum is, because they do put off quite a bit of heat, and they're not loud necessarily, but there's water moving through them at a pretty fast rate, and they sound like jet engines when they fire up, because obviously you're heating water is going through, coiling quickly through a area about the size of like a wall-mounted TV turned sideways, turned portrait-wise, if you will. And for it to do that, it's burning, most of those things are rated at between 90 and 100,000 BTUs, whereas a conventional gas water heater is about 30 to 40,000 BTUs. So they're burning about 2.5 to 3 times as much gas, because the water's moving through it. It's not sitting there in place for it to warm up. So they do make a little bit of noise. Nothing annoying, but you're going to know when it's rolling.
Okay, great. Let's see. LaMonica is asking, do you think the prices are going to go up anytime soon on the homes due to wood prices or due to the pandemic? Great question. Yes. yeah, we're seeing a lot of just changes in pricing in not just wood, but in all the other materials. Trying to get parts for windows and things like that. All the associated costs there are going up as well. So yes, prices will be going up.
Yeah, in fact, as of today, so Fortune magazine, I think it was today or 2 days ago, that buying a new home, you expect to pay about $24,000 more. This is February 28th, 2021, so it's like 2 days ago. It's 24,000. Lumber alone has added $24,000 cost to the price of a new home.
Oh wow.
That has nothing to do that. We're not even talking about sheetrock and, like Don said, windows and insulation and all that. And, oh, by the way, 2 weeks ago we had this horrific freeze and busted a lot of pipes, and everybody ripped their sheetrock out like it was a hurricane Harvey all over in Texas. So now sheetrock's in short supply, and now they're going to cost more money. So it's not just lumber's the one that's magnified because it's gone up the most, but it's certainly not the only one that's going up.
Yeah. The good news is when you sign with us, we do not have cost overruns in our contracts. So as long as you are doing everything that and meeting all the requirements to get your house to construction, the cost of your home is not going to go up with us. That is something to be mindful of. When you're looking at other builders, you want to look for clauses in their contract and ask them, how do they deal with cost overruns? Because a lot of them, you could end up with another bill at the end of the build when things cost more than they anticipated.
That's right.
Kazim is sharing that he's watched about 5 of our videos on YouTube in the past 2 weeks and is just really excited to sit down with us live. Thank you for joining. Thank you for watching, and thank you for joining. We're his best friends now. Awesome. Cool. I will put together bracelets and send them out.
Thank you, Kazim. I appreciate that.
Yes, thank you very much for watching and for letting us know. We try to do these, for educational, so we often wonder if people enjoy them. So thank you for sharing that.
We sit here and just wonder together. Does anyone even care? Does anyone care?
Even watch? I don't know. Martina is asking, would we install radiant heated flooring?
Martina, we've actually done it before. It's not very common. In fact, it's pretty expensive to do it. We've done it. I've never done it in more than a bathroom. There are some homes that in other parts of the country that's how they do it. Like I stayed in a VRBO in Montana one time, and that was it. Like the whole house, that's how it was heated. It was right there.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I was like the third day we were there. I'm like, so I'm comfortable in here, but there's not one.
Where are the vents?
Anywhere. And that whole floor, wall to wall, floor to ceiling, was radiant heat. So that's actually how PEX got its start, Martina. Over in Europe, was they would put it in the slab to heat radiant, because over there they have radiators for everything. That's how they heat their homes, with boilers and all that kind of good stuff. And so they started putting PEX in slabs to heat. And I'm like, and then of course builders over here were like, "That's awesome. That's way better than copper. Let's use that."
Yeah.
So, but as far as doing it in flooring on a large scale basis, that's not something we've done. But I'm sure something we can investigate with our plumbers to see if they're comfortable doing it, and probably get you a price.
Okay.
I would not use it as your only heat source. So it would be like a comfort thing, like in a bathroom. I would not recommend doing it as your sole heat source.
Okay. Brandon is asking, do you have to own the property for Tilson to build, or can I buy property by financing it and still be able to have a Tilson home built? So yes, you can build your home if you still owe money on the land. You do need to have the property before you start work, before we can sign an agreement with you and begin construction, but it does not need to be paid off. We are going to want you to have 10% equity in the value of the final home. So that's the cost of building your home plus the value of the land put together. We're going to want you to have 10% already paid into the land before we can start building. But then you would just make your payments on your land note throughout construction. And then when it's time to close, if there's any remaining balance on that land note, they'll just roll it into your final mortgage.
What she said.
Pete is asking, before working with Tilson and before I purchase my land, can I see if Tilson could build on it before I make the property purchase? Yeah, if you've got it narrowed down to kind of one or two properties that you're looking at, if you've got all the information about the property, so you're going to want the survey and all of that information. If you bring it into one of our design centers, we can kind of take a look and let you know, if the house that you're thinking about would fit on that property and what we think about it.
However, we're not going to be able to tell you everything. Like, for instance, we will not be able to tell you the price of whatever kind of engineering or foundation compliance will be, because we cannot do that until we get a geotechnical investigation done, and we can't go do soil test on someone else's property. They're probably not going to let you agree to do that, and even if then, you're going to spend the exact same amount of money doing that as you would that we require on our initial deposit anyway. So that being said, like Don said, get with your local design center, find out where your land is, and see if they know of any like just crazy foundation compliance costs. Because I have no idea where you're thinking about, but we can only tell you, like, can we build on it if it's dirt? Yep, sure can.
But we can't tell you how much it's going to cost. Yeah,
can't tell you everything about it, but no, a few things to look out for definitely. Like Don said, get the survey and make sure that just simply dimension wise, will what you want to do fit. Get flood.
Is it in the flood zone? Yeah.
And we can check that with addresses. FEMA has a free website. You can double check that, find out where the floodplain is. So don't buy it if it's in the floodplain. Or try to buy it if the majority of it's in the floodplain. If like one small corner of 8 acres in the floodplain, probably not a big deal. If you're buying 2 acres and the whole thing's in the floodplain, if it's where you want to be, just that's fine, but be prepared for some additional cost. And then again, I don't want to mislead by saying, oh yeah, it won't be an issue at all. We really will not know what that foundation is going to be until we do those 2 geotechnical investigations inside the footprint of the home. So really no way to find that out until it, but that will be what it will be. Focus mainly on, is that where you and your family want to be?
Yeah. He is looking in Bear County or Kendall County. So
we're building both. So I mean, again, grade shots, all that kind of stuff. I mean, until we have exactly which floor plan with the exact changes made you want to make, with grade shots done and have geotechnical investigation done, there's not going to be a way to get the finite price on that until that time. So.
Okay. And that is, I'm going to issue a last call for questions, guys. While I look, we had a comment that I wanted to make sure that you saw, Eric. Our person who was talking about Georgia and do they have barbecue, she gets hers at the brand new Buc-ee's. They have
Buc-ee's in Georgia.
Yes. Buc-ee's has expanded. So
I knew they were coming to South Carolina and Florida. I did not know.
Florida, yep.
Man, that is one busy Aggie. He's a good Aggie. So kudos to them. Great company, great concept. Glad they're spreading the Texas cheer.
You got to bring the brisket to everybody. Like,
it's true.
You got to bring it.
So Charlotte, if they have their brisket breakfast tacos, highly recommend. And there's one in particular, be very hungry, because it's called the Hippo. It is a very large breakfast taco. Everything's on it.
You know what I want to know? Charlotte, do they call it a breakfast taco or do they call it a breakfast burrito? Because everywhere outside of the state of Texas, it's called a burrito.
What is this heresy you speak?
If it's like wrapped up, if it's sealed, it's a burrito. If you're not in
burritos
Texas.
Are for dinner.
I know, and they have to have sauce on them, but not every. No.
I'm not sure I can handle all this.
So I'm just interested. Like, if they have it, what did they do? Did they adapt?
For one Tilson Live. All right, folks. Thank you so much for joining us. This has been a lot of fun. We genuinely appreciate it. We are grateful for each and every one of you. And then, we have
a question. David is
do my wrap up, and that'll usually bring them all the way.
Yeah, that usually brings the questions. David is asking if he's looking at some Tilson homes in a specific area, would the same crews be doing the construction?
That's a good question. I mean, sometimes yes, sometimes not necessarily. We do have multiple sets of crews. We have multiple framers. We have multiple concrete crews. We have multiple painters, trim carpenters, sheetrocker. I mean, there's some, broadly speaking, they're pretty well going to be the same. Usually those are your plumbers, your HVAC, electricians, that kind of stuff. Those are pretty well going to be, broadly speaking, the same outfits in different parts of the state. But as far as the other things go, they could be different. They could be the same ones, or they could be different. Sometimes we will want to wait on a crew that we know of, that we've seen their work. We are familiar with how they operate. But obviously, I mean, even with particularly times like this, we do have to try to train up new labor when we can find it. So that's a real struggle right now, is trying to onboard and train some new contractors, because people can't wait forever. So so bear with us as we go through doing that. It's part of the deal. But in most cases, we are probably end up waiting for a contractor that we are familiar with, which means it could just be longer than it ordinarily would. And while we regret that, we want it done right.
Absolutely.
So thank you for asking.
All right. Kazim is asking, do we have an estimate of the cost of permits for building in the city of Pearland? The land is not in a flood zone, but it is inland too.
Yeah, so inland 2 is that's windstorm, so that's not going to change it. That's in the base price of all our homes in Brazoria County. The answer is there is really no way to give you an estimate for the permits, and the reason is because Pearland can vary wildly. It could be maybe $1,500, $2,000, all the way up to $8,000 to $10,000, depending on what all they're going to want done. Now, obviously, we will know that before too far down in the process. But there's a lot. City of Pearland can be very challenging, but we have built a number of houses there, and that's why we know how much it can vary. But so depending on if they're going to let you be on sewer, or if you're going to be on septic, if you're going to have to extend those sewer lines, extend those water lines, that'll dictate what type of impact fees that they have. They have sewer impact fee, water impact fee, road impact fees. I've even seen, not in Pearland, but I've seen a park impact fee. Like, so your family moving to town is going to have an impact on their city parks. Therefore, you pay a park impact fee so they can recover those costs.
Okay.
Because they're about community. Again, that's not Pearland, but there are other places. If you get an address, we might be able to give you a little bit better idea at the Angleton location. If you go to our Angleton Time Center, give them an address, and we can poke down to the City of Pearland and find out kind of what that process looks like for that particular piece. So,
okay. LaMonica is asking, when do you need to lock in your contract? Because sometimes prices go up in quarters, and if you're locked in, you are not usually affected by the new price.
Yeah, so you need to lock in your contract whenever you're ready to build, when you're ready to get the process going. If the land is in your name, if you have a survey on it, and you're prepared to take the steps to move forward, which would be like get the site cleared, get a construction drive and culvert put in, all that stuff, then you're ready to go.
And you have a very clear idea of what you want to build.
Because the pricing is not protected forever. There are some shot clocks, some time is of the essence kind of stuff. We can't, because of what's happening with lumber and what has always happened with prices over time, prices of things go up. And because of that, we can only, hold someone's price for a certain amount of time before we do have to go back to the person and say, hey, look, it's been 5 months and you still don't have the property platted. It's not cleared, or there's no road in there. And so, we do have the right to go back and renegotiate the price of the home at that point. So talk about it with the sales consultant. They're very well versed in kind of what the timeline looks like and whether someone's ready to move forward or not.
Okay. That makes sense.
Thank you for asking that, LaMonica. That's a great question.
Yeah. Thank you. It's a great question. Russman is saying, in other live streams, we've said that Tilson accounts for thicker foundations on sloped grades and the pricing for the hill country. If my land is flat and on solid rock, would a credit be applied? Oh, it's Eric Draw's time.
So, Russman, to answer your question, a certain amount is included. In other words, whether it's, so let's say here's our ground level. That is terrible. That's not good.
Oh, we got to get you a Sharpie so these pictures are a little bit.
I know. Yeah, well, all right. So here's our ground level. He's saying his is perfectly level. We're going to start the slab approximately 11 inches above natural ground, and he's saying it's perfectly flat. We'll see. And that does not include what's going down into the actual dirt. Okay. So going down in, usually those are at least 28, sometimes 30 inches deep, sometimes 24 inches deep. But in the negotiations we've done with our foundation contractors, depending on the county, that's what drives it, okay, is how many inches of drop are included in the base price. So there's no credit if you're less than that. It's from 0 to, let's say, 24 inches of out of level of drop is included. And then we only go back and charge on top of that if it's more than that. And the reason for that is there's going to be some disparity of the level through the property somewhere, or if a pad has been built, in many cases, we'll end up having to dig through the pad, which so that, and as opposed to what he's saying is that the land slopes like that, which most property in the hill country does. So again, we're going to build, 11, 12 inches above the high point. We're going to build it out here level, which means by the time you get to the back, if this is, say, 30 inches at a level, so this will be about 12 inches high. This will be about 42 inches high back here. So front of the house, kind of like what the house we just looked at today. Back of the house, we saw that railing, all that kind of stuff up there. Again, this was a little bigger than what's typically included, but that's how that works. But yeah, it's up to a certain amount. In other words, if you're from 0 to whatever the county is, sometimes it's 6 inches, 12 inches, 18 inches, 24 inches. I don't think we have anything over 24. We may have a county that has 30, but that's what's included, and it's not a credit if you go the other way. It's just the prices to accommodate that, and ends up being an average actually over the slab, because again, your entire slab is not 30 inches out of level, right? Really only from here back. Only half the foundation is done that way. So it's not, they don't get all the money for doing that, nor do we. So we only charge you half of it.
That makes sense. Charlotte chimed in. Buc-ee's calls them a burrito outside of Texas. So they've adapted. They did their market research. Don't make that face. They were being good. They did their market research.
I'll allow it.
Okay. Jackie is asking, would we say that concrete floors are the most durable for multiple pets?
I mean, yes, you're going to have a hard time destroying them. Mm-hmm. However, the finish is not going to look the same. I mean, you're going to see a
it depends upon what you mean by protect. If you're looking for your floors to look like they looked when you moved in, probably not on stained concrete. Yeah. The finish. They're not going to dent the concrete unless you have like super pat, but it's not going to look the same. Like you get wear patterns in stained concrete and things like that.
Yeah, tile is going to be if you want it to look the same way in 5 years as it looked the day it got put down with pets, whatever, tile is the answer. Even stained concrete, like Don's saying, it shows traffic patterns, the finish dulls, the luster dulls, beauty fades. Yeah. Sorry.
Johnny is saying he's building a Cypress B in Magnolia, just waiting on the weather to act right so we can pour his foundation. Us too.
Me and you both, act right. Me and you both, sir.
Okay, and that is officially our last question.
Okay. Well, I'm still grateful for everyone, and I'm still glad you joined us. I hope you guys got something out of this. Reach out to us on our various medias. So we have Facebook, we've got Instagram, we've got our website, we've got 11 design centers open 7 days a week. We'd love to see you, love to meet you. We got coffee, we got bottled water. We do recommend making an appointment because it's just best for everybody. Make highest and best use of your time. Make sure that you got your questions answered when you come in. And thanks for joining us, Dawn. Thanks for taking us through this.
Absolutely. And everybody, if there's anything else that you would like us to talk about on one of these lives, let us know in the comments. Next week, we're going to be talking about energy efficiency, which we know everybody wants to talk about. But if there's anything that you guys think we haven't covered that you want to hear more about, hit us in the comments and let us know.
Can't wait. And we genuinely hope to soon make you part of the Tilson family. Bye, everybody.